Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, I'm playing the Tier 8 HSF Harekaze, which is it's a Japanese destroyer. It's got 3 different configurations, just depending upon what kind of guns you like, how much AA you like, etc. Um, you can have 127s or you can have 100 millimeters. I generally go with the 100 millimeter guns. They don't do as much damage, but the reload is much faster. I've got a 3-second reload on these, and the others, I think, have a 7-second reload. So as a general rule, I tend to stick with these guns. These guns also have much flatter arcs, and the 127s have much more lofty arcs. They're great if you want to sit behind the edge of an island and fire over the top of them to start fires. They can be very effective that way, but you don't have a lot of range. So there's, at least in my opinion, kind of limited effectiveness. Maybe it's my play style, but I've never really been able to put those guns to as effective a use. These guns don't do much damage. I mentioned that. I think the HE does 1200. You know, it's got a fire chance, and with a 3-second reload, you can start some fires. And you know, when I play this ship, I generally do. But the guns are not really all that effective. What you're trying to do is you're trying to get the torpedoes on target. The torpedoes, you know, they're typical of Japanese torpedoes. They hit really, really hard. So let's see if I can find the damage numbers on it. Okay, so they're Type 90s, Mod 1, max damage 17,233 per torpedo, and you know, of course, that's pretty significant. You got 8 torpedoes. You can see the potential there for a lot of damage. And in fact, in this game, I do catch a battleship in the late game, and he really doesn't have anywhere to go. He's going to have Kansas on one side, and he's at an island. I'm just sitting on the other side of the island. I get plane spotted here momentarily. And I'm able to kind of sit at one edge of the island on the other side and smoke up and just watch where he goes. And he's going to eat a lot of torpedoes. So in the early going, really all I'm doing here is I'm going to hold this position because I want to try and keep this destroyer lit. Our CV is doing a pretty good job right now, but of course he's not going to stick around forever. So I'm going to get up here a little closer. I'm going to smoke up. I'm going to try and put the guns to some work. Our St. Louis will keep Le Fantasque lit as long as Le Fantasque uses his guns. So I'm going to. So he just did. I'm going to go ahead and line. See if he switches over to me. Got the smoke going already. And here comes. So he's firing on me. And I'm presuming that there are going to be some torpedoes coming my way. You can see this. These guns don't do much damage against. Well, really, the French DDs are a little tougher than most. But the guns really are not all that effective anyway, other than as fire starters. And there's a great follow-up to Torpedo Strike. And there's no way, I think the max speed on these, what's the torpedo speed? 62 knots. So is there any chance I'm going to hit that destroyer? Probably not. But I did put him out there. So he got away. I'm going to just sit here and see if I can secure this cap. I don't want to show you a lot of unnecessary play, but you know, there are a couple things here to note. I'm keeping an eye on the position of the chappie. I'm kind of nose into him if he turns back to this side, and I kind of expect that he will, but I want to try and hang on to securing the cap. Calling the target there as I do spot the destroyer. You can see I'm trying to turn around. I want to be able to run, and I'm thinking initially that I'm going to run kind of more or less straight ahead from where my position is right now to get behind the island. But if the chappie comes this way on radars, I'm going to have to run due south. And I've got 5 seconds to secure the cap. And it looks like the task is coming around. He's going to come back through these islands would be my guess. Let's see if I can get him spotted. And the red team is down 2 ships. Now he is spotted. I'm taking a risk here because the chappie is around here somewhere. If he didn't turn back the other direction, I'll probably be contending with his guns before long. And I have to hope that I'm going to get some help from the Otago and the Dyson. See Le Fantasque, he's using the throttle to try and get into this a little bit more. But I'm tracking the smoke plumes on his stacks. And fortunately, Dyson does step up and help out. Now, I'm right next to an island. I can't turn that way. So I'm going to have to do a turnaround here. and he's going to radar any second, right? There it is. I'm almost directly pointed at him when he radars. I have to make this game return. I'm going to throw these torpedoes out just kind of on a wing and a prayer. I'm almost out of HP, so really here it's kind of it was I played this badly. I got myself very nearly sunk, and I do manage to survive this. You can see kind of the AB line around 5, so we'll call it Bravo 5. You got Musashi, and Alpha 5, you got Izumo. And the red team is in big trouble already. So I'm not going to belabor this. I'm just going to move forward, and I'll show you where we catch the chappie. He decides to push in through this gap, which is, if you're ever playing on that side, don't push between these islands. That is suicide, especially if you do what this guy did. Unfortunately, Lagalendo, I'm not picking on him here. He grounds. He hits the island, and this Dyson sitting here is just, I'm sitting here because I want to make sure he doesn't have any chance of securing that cap. Now this next volley is going to be it for the chappie. He's a goner. Boof. Okay, so we've got the cap. The red team's already down to 5 ships, so this really is kind of effectively over. But this is kind of a neat moment. You can see there is the Izumo, and I'm going to use the island here. I'm saying, which way is he going? Now, if you look, you got Kansas here, and he's here. You got these. He's not going to turn left, but he may. I mean, is it possible? Yes, but I don't think he is. He's not going to want to show broadside to Kansas. So I'm going to position so that if he does turn this way, I can get torpedoes that way. You'll see here in just a second. And if he comes forward more, I'm going to be able to get torpedoes this way. Musashi finishes off our Hatago, our Bismarck finishes off the Nostroshimi, and this game really is all over but the shouting. We've only lost 4 ships. The red team only has 4 ships left. But I've got 55 seconds before my torpedoes are back up. And right now, given that he's kind of pushing forward, I really feel like the Izumo is essentially entirely focused on the Kansas. And he feels like, okay, I missed the torpedo string. So here's where I was thinking he might cut across here. And he is showing a lot of signs to Kansas, maybe to get his own. I don't know. He really didn't have to show that much side. And then when he's turning back, now he's turning back this way, and I'm looking here. I got 10 seconds till my torpedoes are back up. Now I'm thinking maybe he's going to turn into me. Maybe he's just going to try and flap me with HE. He knows I'm low HP. Nope. And it's not often these days that you get this kind of a beautiful close-range torpedo strike on a battleship. So you'll forgive me if I want to highlight that with a little zoom in there. All right, so picked up a little 32,000 damage there and finished off the Izumo, and this game really is over. There's a little bit more damage, that is going to happen, but not much. I mean, to the red team, not necessarily from me. You can see that they're down to 3 ships, or we're down to. And I have to say, they've done all they can. We're down to 6, and just kind of speed forward, try and help secure this cap. And I know that the CV is going to be making strikes, but he's chosen to strike these guys. You can see where this wedge shape is at. That's my radio location indicator, and now it's just chasing down the CV. So if you don't have this ship, it is fun. I mean, if you like playing the stealthy torpedo strike type of ship, and you don't have this ship, if it's available and you enjoy that kind of ship, I think you could really have fun with this thing. But it is, of course, a premium, and that means you'd have to spend some money. And I know that that there are a lot of people these days that don't really want to spend money on this game, and I actually, at this point, I'm kind of one of them. balance considerations seem to be way out of whack. It doesn't seem like wargaming is spending anywhere near the time or effort that they used to make sure that ships, when they're released, are balanced for the game. The CC program, I don't know how familiar you are with any of this stuff, but it seemed like they used to really listen to their community contributors and their testers, and a lot of the old-time CCs and community and testers have publicly complained that wargaming basically ignored what they said and just kind of did what they wanted in the name of short-term profitability. So um, maybe you don't want to spend money on this game, but if you do, and you see a bargain on this ship, and you see the opportunity for some fun on this ship, it's one that I can really recommend. I think it's a very fun ship to play. This was actually gifted to me by a friend. So, take a quick look at the stats. Nothing particularly exciting. I mean, 109 shots on target, and 5 torpedo hits was what, 33,000. So I did a little bit of damage with the guns, which we'll see here in a second. Managed to shoot down 2 aircraft, which in this ship is really, really unusual. Sank 1, couple of floods, some cap defenses. We'll go ahead and fast forward through the rest of this stuff. Okay, I wanted to be able to show, there we go. Okay, so I didn't light up the scoreboard, right? I just kind of did my job, and that's something that I encourage anyone playing a destroyer, especially a stealth destroyer, to do, because it is very easy to get caught up in trying to get the big kills and doing which, I had one in this game, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Rushing into weird positions in order to try to, you don't have to do that. When you're playing a stealth destroyer, you want to provide visibility for your team every chance you get, and if it's a chance for a good strike, you make that big strike, and if you get the chance to put guns on red DDs, well, you do that. So we just got 14 seconds, so we're getting toward the end. I only put damage on 3 different ships. Significant amount of damage on the Izumo, of course, almost 60,000 total. And then we look at the XP. Now, I didn't really have any blue flags. I think I was running green flags, but you can see, because it's premium, it does pretty well. I hope you enjoyed this. If in terms of ships that are analogous in the game that you can just pick up in the tech tree, Kagero, I think, is probably the closest one. And if you like the Kagero, I think you would really like this. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time.